when HR needs HR. There's a special kind of irony in this world, like watching the fire department's own station burn down, or finding out the world's biggest HR organization might need an HR intervention. Welcome to SHRM, the Society of Human Resource Management. On paper, they're the self-proclaimed foremost experts on how work should work. They sell best practices, certifications, thought leadership, all wrapped in glossy conference lanyards and $1,000 tickets. But behind the paywall and the branding, former employees are painting a very different picture. Start with this. It's September 11th, a day of memorial, reflection, national trauma. At SHRM headquarters, they acknowledge the 24th anniversary of the attacks. Moments later, a Marilyn Monroe impersonator saunters out and sings a breathy, sultry happy birthday to an executive in front of 75 employees. That's not a scene from The Office. That's the world's largest HR trade group, allegedly. Then there's the 9 o'clock a.m. rule, not the 9:05 a.m. rule, not the traffic was bad rule. Under a policy described by former staff, if you showed up 1 minute late, you didn't just quietly slip to your desk. You went to security and waited to be escorted in by an executive, like a perp walk in business casual. One pregnant employee reportedly fell and hurt herself, literally running to beat the clock. This is the same organization publishing content about empathy, flexibility, and psychological safety. And it keeps going. A memo about enclothed cognition, the idea that what you wear shapes how you perform, morphs into a dress code banning sneakers, denim, skirts, sequins, and anything that doesn't cover the shoulders to the knees zone. Conservative by design. But when you mix it with fear of retaliation and constant reorganizations, it stops sounding like brand alignment and more like control. And in all hands, the CEO reportedly calls staff entitled, complacent, and sloppy, right before announcing a total reorg and new layoffs, a few weeks after telling a smaller group that there would be no layoffs. Red carpet in, red carpet out, he says, later in a video about how they treat people during cuts. The folks on the receiving end, they remember less of the red carpet and more of the trap door. You've got discrimination lawsuits creeping all the way to trial. An internal investigation where, according to a judge, the same HR person was both investigator and the ghostwriter helping people prepare the termination. You've got SHRM publishing guides on how to remove fear from your work culture, while former employees say fear was the operating system. And then there's DEI, or rather, the missing E. After years of pushing DEI is the right thing and the smart thing, SHRM quietly drops equity from the acronym, invites an anti-DEI firebrand to the stage, tells the world it's about difficult conversations, while members and partners quietly back away. The CEOs pay more than quadruples. Memberships prices climb, and the layoffs keep on rolling. And some of the very HR pros who used to defend SHRM are now on TikTok comparing it to the marketing department of the Death Star. That's a direct quote. The marketing department for the Death Star. Here's a twist. No organization is perfect. Everyone stumbles. But when your business is telling the world how to treat people, when you sell yourself as the standard, you don't get to be surprised when people notice the gap between the keynote and the cubicle. At some point, best practices stop being a slogan and start being a receipt. To keep up with what's happening now and what's happening next in the world of work, subscribe to the Recruiting Life newsletter over at my website, jimstroud.com. Because when people who teach HR can't live up to HR 101, it's not just a bad look. It's a warning label on the whole system.
It is right.